Welcome back. It is Friday, January 19th in the NBA. 5 picks on the way. Let's go 5-0. But first, we've got to do a recap from yesterday, a 1-2 day. We continue to not be able to get a little bit of momentum going in the NBA. But let's talk about yesterday. Josh Giddey, our winner of the day, over in points, sweat-free. I mean, you could have taken it at any line you wanted. He hit it with 20 points, a very easy winner. A very easy loser, Nikola Vucevic, under in points. Just a terrible bet for me. I'll own that one. And then Julius Randle, we added him after the video, over 28.5 points. His first quarter, we looked really good. He scored 12 points. Then the man literally did not shoot the rest of the game until the fourth quarter. I think he scored only 1 point between the second and the third quarter. That's just not going to get it done a 1-2 day. But let's dive into the picks today. If I'm recapping a losing day tomorrow, I would be shocked. I really like the 5 picks we got today. Spent a lot of hours in the lab trying to cook up some winners for you guys. And I really think we got a great card cooked up for you. So 5 picks, not going to waste any more of your time. We should later on today have some NFL videos live. So stay tuned for those on the channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to dive into the first pick though. Taking an over for Mr. Nikola Jokic, over 25.5 points, -115 on Bet365, my first pick of the day. Now, Jokic and the Nuggets find themselves as big underdogs. They are actually 6.5 point underdogs on the road in Boston. No surprise, Boston's been arguably the best home team in the NBA. And this season, when Jokic and the Nuggets have lost, he's averaged 27 points per game. Now, there's been a theme with Jokic. When they are losing, he's obviously going to be more aggressive, but also when they face good teams, he's also more aggressive because that's typically when they are losing and they need him to be more aggressive. And I just don't see a big day coming from the Nuggets role players. Now, when I say that, it's because the last 10 games, Celtics, 6th fewest catch and shoot threes. So I don't really see big games coming from KCP, Michael Porter Jr. You obviously have Jamal Murray out there. He'll probably have a decent game, but he's getting defended by Drew Holiday and Derek White. So you look at Jokic, who will be defended by Kristaps. He's done really well in this matchup. His last 4 against Kristaps, 26, 35, 29, and 31 points. Now, you look at his last 2 games versus Boston, 29 and 30 points, played less than 32 minutes in each of those games. Now, obviously, one of those games, I think he dealt with a little bit of foul trouble. One of those games was a blowout as well at home for the Nuggets. But end of the day, this should be a game where Jokic is going to have to play a lot of minutes. They're going to need him out there because they are going to be, I just don't see their role players and the other guys really having great spots here, and they're going to need Jokic to go out there and be aggressive. And the Celtics are not a team that doubles guys. They are not going to double Jokic most likely. And if you give me Jokic one-on-one against Kristaps, Al Horford, I'll take it any day of the week. And we've seen Jokic play really well against Boston. His last 7 games versus them, he's averaged 27.9 points per game. He's hit this over in only 4 of 7, but you look at him, averaged 19.3 field goal attempts. He's had 13, 15, 20, 20, 21, 23, and 23 field goal attempts against them. So they're a team that forces Jokic to score, beat them. That's what the Celtics do. They say, hey, you want your stars to go off? Sure. We're not going to let your role players have good games. And that's kind of what they're going to force Jokic to do, I think, become a scorer. And Jokic this season, when he's been aggressive shooting the ball, he's over this line in 20 of 26 games with 15 or more shots. So, look, if you give me a Jokic aggression tonight where he's shooting 15 to 20 times, I'll take my chances. I think he can score on Kristaps. I think he can score on Al Horford too. And I really do think that's just a spot where Jokic is going to have to play aggressive. We know even if he goes in the half with like 10 points, we know he's capable of those 15-point type quarters. He could easily get that done here today. As long as this game remains remotely close, I don't see the Nuggets blowing out the Celtics. So it's going to come down to the Celtics blowing out the Nuggets. Could happen, but I really do think Jokic will still play a lot of minutes, and I just don't see the bench really playing too well here. So give me Jokic, give me his over 25.5 points, my first pick of the day. Second pick, going to go to a guy that's been very up and down recently. It's Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, over 24.5 points, -120 on Bet365. I don't mind Booker at 25.5. Typically with Booker, you're either getting like 30 points or you're getting like 21 or 22. Now, we've seen the Suns have been relatively, knock on wood, healthy in terms of their star players recently, and we've seen the last 5 games, the Suns have finally had their big 3 healthy. They've had, obviously, Durant, Booker, and Beal. Now, in those 5 games, you've kind of seen Booker go up and down. He's had 24, so we're landing on the hook once, 20, 31, 34, and 16 points, attempting 17, 14, 22, 22, and 14 field goal attempts. So last game, he did not play well. And I equate Devin Booker very similar to Jalen Brunson. Not in the fact that they have very similar games, the fact that they rarely have back-to-back bad shooting games. You've seen me always taking Brunson when he's coming off a bad game. And that's kind of the same thing for Booker, because this season, you look at him. Well, let's talk about his last game. Bad game. You won against the Sacramento Kings, that crazy comeback. Booker only 16 points, 5 of 14 shooting, 35% from the field. That was Booker's 6th game this season, shooting less than 40%. Like I said, normally a very efficient shooter. We saw in the previous 5 instances where he shot terrible. The next game, 28, 40. 34, 28, and 35 points, easily clearing the line in all five. Obviously, Beal's out there. He'll take some usage away, but this is still a guy in Booker we know is going to play a ton of minutes and have the ball in his hands a ton. And obviously, on the road, they're going to need him to be aggressive. I don't see their role players having big games. And so I think this is going to come down to the big three is going to have to show up. I don't see Grayson Allen scoring 27 points like he just did last game. They're going to need these guys to go out there and play pretty well. And I think Booker, the guy that's going to have the ball in his hands nearly every possession, bringing it up the court, gonna have to be pretty aggressive. I don't see, great matchups on the court for Beal or Durant either. And I think that when we see at the end of the day, he's gonna have to be aggressive against the Pelicans. Pelicans are a really good team, should be able to keep the game close given they're at home. And while I'm not gonna bring up stats of how Booker does against the Pelicans because this is a much different team, he now has Durant and Beal on his team. Worth noting his last game versus New Orleans, 58 points. Don't think he does that tonight, but we'll certainly take 25 from Devin Booker. I certainly think we know how good he is. He could easily get that done. So D-Book, we need a big game. Give us 25 plus points. Now, let's that third play of the day. It's going to be another guy to score some points. It's Tyrese Maxey. I'm taking him over 24.5 points. Technically, I am taking him 25 plus points on FanDuel, which is minus 130. I personally don't lay a lot of juice here. I'm not a guy that comes out here, hey, here's a minus 130, here's a minus 140 play. However, for something like this with Maxey, I'm willing to lay like the minus 130. I personally wouldn't go higher than that. I would just take the 25.5. But worth noting, Maxey has landed on the dot 25 points in 4 games this year, which is why I'm taking the 25 plus. I think that's reasonable to lay a little bit more juice on this one. Now, obviously, let's talk about Joel Embiid, who did return 2 games ago. And Maxey, you've seen in these 2 games, has it the over 27 and 25 points. And he's done that on 18 and 20 field goal attempts. He is worth noting, did miss 4 of his 7 free throw attempts in their last game against the Nuggets. And that was a game when they had everyone cooking. Tobias Harris was playing really well too. And obviously Embiid, 41 points in each of these 2 games. Now, I think a common play today will be Joel Embiid's over because reasonably so. Why wouldn't you take it? He's been a beast. But the Magic are an interesting defense here, and their head coach, Jamal Mosley, is not afraid of trying new things. And what you haven't seen a ton of this season is guys doubling Joel Embiid. Obviously, hard to double him when he gets the ball at the top of the key. However, I would not be surprised if they throw a ton of double teams at him. That will, or just keep a guy on him all game long. Now, look, if the Magic want to let Goga Bitadze go a one-on-one against Joel Embiid, it could be my guess, but that is just not a recipe for success for the Orlando Magic, and I would not be surprised if they're just throwing doubles, triple teams at Joel Embiid all game long, forcing someone else to beat them. And you think about the guys that are surrounding Joel Embiid, obviously Tyrese Maxey, but outside of him, Kelly Oubre Jr., Nicholas Batum, you got Tobias Harris, Pat Bev's been playing a lot of minutes, all guys that aren't really big-time scorers. So I think at the end of the day, you're going to need Tyrese Maxey. He's going to get those screens set by Joel Embiid. I don't see the guy that is setting the screen, Joel Embiid's man, either Goga or Wendell Carter Jr., hedging and coming out and guarding Maxey. I think Maxey's going to have a full head of steam right to the hoop or get to mid-range or three-point looks. And I think that's where you're going to have to see Maxey step up here today. And you've seen, like I said, with the Melton out, you got all those guys surrounding him, all a lot of three-point guys, catch and shoot guys. Last 10 games, Magic, fewest catch and shoot threes allowed in the NBA. So I think they're going to force Maxey to be aggressive. And they're going to, I think if I were the Magic, I'd say, hey, you know what, Tyrese Maxey, you go beat us. We're not going to let your guys hit threes on us. We're not going to let Joel Embiid drop 45 points on us. We'd rather Tyrese Maxey go one-on-one against Jalen Suggs or whoever's out there guarding him. And we're going to live with that. And I think that's what their game plan is going to be. And I think we're going to see Maxey have to be aggressive. And this season, he scored 25 plus points in 21 of 26 games with 18 or more shots. I think this is a game he has to shoot a ton. And if he doesn't shoot the ball well, whatever. But I think this is a game he will have some open looks. He's going to have to go out there and be aggressive. So I really like Maxey to score 25 points. Like I said, you can take it at 25.5 if you want to, but obviously that 24.5 line, I like that a little bit more than the 25.5. Willing to pay a little bit to choose minus 130 on it. I wouldn't pay like minus 140 just because I don't really like taking that for a points line. Given we're going to need 25, what's the chances he doesn't get you 26? So that's kind of my frame of reference there. But I really think Maxey's in for a good game. And my fourth play, did I say fourth? I don't really know which. We're on the fourth play though. We're talking about another point score. Jeremy Grant over 19.5 points, minus 110 on DraftKings. Now, this is the line. I don't mind at 20.5. Personally, if it does move to 20.5, take a peek at his points plus assist line. Sometimes when I give out plays, they don't move the other line. So take a peek at that. But Jeremy is, let's be honest, he's played really well at home this year, and I like trusting Jeremy Grant at 19.5 line. Now, you look at Jeremy, this season, he's played in 6 games with Anthony Simons at home. I'd like to say, we got to count Anthony Simons. I'm not going to count the games Simons did not play. In those games, 27, 30, 22, 20, 13, and 30 points. So going over 5 of 6 at home with Simons active. Last game versus Brooklyn, 30 points on 26 shots. Now, obviously, I do not expect 26 field goal attempts tonight. If he shoots 26 times, I'd probably put 30 units on this because the odds of him shooting 26 times not getting you 20 points, probably like less than 1%. And so, but I also, on the same side, I don't expect him to shoot 26 times. Also don't expect him to shoot 0 free throw attempts. Kind of go hand in hand. Now, obviously, we'd love 26 shots and 0 free throw attempts. I'd sign up for that. But the Blazers are back at home taking on Indiana. Indiana is a team coming off a back-to-back. They just got a big win against Sacramento. Their guys will be a little bit tired tonight. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton plays. Maybe Pascal Siakam makes his debut. But I still do think the Blazers have been a really good home team. Not, winning games, but keeping games close. And that's all you can ask for. So they can keep this game close, get Jeremy Grant his normal minutes. I think he should easily get us 20 points. Now, like I said, the Pacers have actually, on the back, they've been doing a really good job at slowing down opposing point guards. I mean, you think about Trae Young, he struggled against them. De'Aaron Fox only 24 points against them last night on 20 shots. I think they're going to live with that. With TJ McCollum in the lineup, they've been able to slow down those point guards. And guys like Simon, sure, he could go off and score 30 points, but I think there's plenty of points to go around in a fast-paced matchup for Jeremy Grant. And this season, he's averaged 21.4 points per game. He scored 20-plus points in 21 of 35. That's 60% of the time. And when he plays 30 or more minutes, he's done this in 19 of 23. It's 83%. So, sure, could Grant not play 30 minutes? Sure. But that probably means it's a blowout. Whatever. But when he plays, I mean, if this game is close, which is a 5 or 6 point spread, he probably sees closer to 35 minutes, probably shoots 15, 18 times. I'll take my chances with Jeremy Grant. Very talented, multifaceted scorer. He can score from the 3-point line, the mid-range, layups, free throw line. He can do it all. So I'll take him at 19.5. I think this is way too low of a line for Jeremy Grant. So give me his over, 19.5 points. He cooked the Pacers earlier on this season, but I believe Anthony Simons did not play in that game. Then my fifth and final play of the day. I know it's a big card, 5 plays, but we're going 5-0. At 4-1, 3-2 at worst. We're talking about an under. And like I saved the under for last because people hate unders, and they're not going to like an under on the king, LeBron James. I'm taking this under 8.5 assists, minus 140 on DraftKings. Personally, you never see me take lines at minus 140. And I will never take a points line at minus 140 because it's a points line. You're going to need, normally points lines, we're not taking a lot of 9.5, 10-point guys. But for assists, obviously there's a big difference between taking his 8.5 and 7.5 assists. That's over a 10% difference marginally. So I'm okay laying a little bit of juice here at minus 140. I'd play it to about minus 155. I think the line should be 7.5, minus 110 both ways. So I really do like this under here. Now, let's talk about why we're taking an under on the king. Now, we have to talk about some lineup changes because the Lakers made a big lineup change 3 games ago, moving D'Angelo Russell back into the starting lineup. Obviously, D'Lo was coming off the bench for a while. Now, did they do that for the team's success? I don't know. They're 2-1 since then, but did they do that maybe to try to increase D'Angelo Russell's trade value? Also chances there, but in those 3 games, LeBron, 9, 6, and 8 assists. His assist chances are pretty down, and he's under 8.5 assists in 19 of 28 games with D'Angelo Russell starting. So with D'Lo out there, we know D'Lo's running a lot of pick and roll with Anthony Davis, and heck, with LeBron James too. And so I think that with him out there, handling the ball a lot, you also got Austin Reeves in the starting lineup. LeBron does not have to create as much offense and opportunity for his teammates because you got D'Lo, you got Austin Reeves, you got Anthony Davis, all guys that are capable of creating their own shot. It's not like he's surrounded with 3 Torian Princes and AD. No, that's not the case. Like Cam Reddish is not playing a ton. I think he might be injured, but at the end of the day, I think they're not going to have LeBron as a big ball handler for a lot of minutes here, and he's going to have to be efficient if he's going to hit the over. And this isn't the best matchup. I mean, the Nets, they're facing the Nets. The Nets have allowed the 7th fewest assists per game over the last 15 games, and only 4 players have actually had 9 or more assists against the Nets over the last month. I mean, I'll take my chances here. This is a team that obviously they have D'Lo going in a revenge game. Maybe he's aggressive and shooting the ball a ton. They also have Claxton down low to potentially block some Anthony Davis lobs, which is kind of how LeBron gets some assists. And heck, Claxton, if you just want to hack AD when he's getting the assist opportunities, I'm fine with that too. But LeBron's I think he's going to have to be efficient. I don't think he gets the 15 to 18 assist chances he had been seeing recently, with D'Lo on the bench, probably down to about 10, 12 assist chances. If he has to convert 75% of them, sure, I'll live with that. The Nets also played the 6th slowest pace in the NBA over the last 10 games, coming off a loss, unacceptable loss to the Blazers. Wouldn't be surprised if the Nets covered tonight either. But I'm taking LeBron under. I know, sketchy. Now, everyone hates unders. Look, when I lose an under, I get like 15x more comments than when I lose an over. That's just how it works. But I'm confident taking this LeBron under. I don't think the line should be 8.5 still. So I'll take LeBron James under 8.5 assists. My 5th and final play of the day. Let's have a wonderful day. No added plays. We'll have some NFL videos live later on today. We did have a Bulls game where I went to the Bulls game and I posted it on the second channel. That video is linked on the screen. Also, we will have a couple NFL videos live later on today. I think I'm going to do a separate video for each divisional game. So stay tuned for that. It's Austin. I'm signing out. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Also, we have a winning day. Ladder challenge returns tomorrow. Yeah, my word. See you later. Peace.